All right. Hey, welcome back to the Go for CO channel. This is John the Bomb. Building others means business. And man, talk about a storied career, entrepreneurship journey, just all of the above. Let me read this to you. And oh, by the way, subscribe to the channel, become part of the Go for CO community, and start listening to SMBs, small to medium-sized business owners, CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs. We bring in a lot of people that are inside these companies and interview them and see how they think like a CEO as well. So let's go with Mr. Scott Porter from Churros Artisan, I'm sorry, San Diablo Artisan's Churros, and take a look at this background. Co-founded as the CMO, the first all-you-can-fly membership airline. So that's not related to churros, but look at this. So co-founded and launched the game of reverse charades, co-founded an international nonprofit organization called Singular Humanitarian, and been in management consultant and Gartner, formerly CEB, Inside Out Development and General Assembly. He holds a BA in Public Relations and an MBA in Marketing and Entrepreneurship, both from BYU as well as an MA span. I mean, this is like a big mouthful, man. This guy is unbelievable. How are you having time for anything? But now you created the most incredible churro with San Diablo Artisan Churros. How are you, Scott?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. Well, hey, look, on the Go for CO channel, we always like to have our interviewees start off with kind of what's the ideation? What was that inspired you to kind of get into this field? Did you see a niche in the market? Did you just kind of, I don't know, do you have a niece or a nephew or a kid that inspired you? So those types of things. So we'd love to have you start with that and share, what started San Diablo Artisan Churros.
Yeah, I mean it was a very natural career progression from I also have run a couple of nursing homes, so nursing homes and then airline and then churros makes perfect sense. Um, and I think that it's a pretty unconventional career path. For me, the churros really called to me when I was in and there's a common thread, and I'll get to that. But really, I'm obsessed with customer and brand experience, and have developed a system and a framework and structure that I've used in to build these other businesses that I've worked in, and that industries that I've worked in the nursing home industry, with the travel and tourism and airlines. And then I wanted to see my system play out in a completely different industry. And I'm obsessed with food, love to eat. I love Mexican food. And all of that started when I was a missionary in Mexico for 2 years in just below Texas on the Gulf of Mexico. And then I went back after I was done with my mission service. I went back and I lived in Mexico City for a summer. And that summer, like, turned out to be very transformational for my life. Everything that I'm involved in now was impacted by my experience there, including San Diablo Artisan Churros. So or when I was there, uh, some friends took me to discover this magical street food paradise part of the city called Coyoacan. And it's this historical colonial part where the artists Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera used to live. And it's now this kind of bohemian, awesome street experience. There's like street performers and families and everyone hanging out, and the greatest street food in the whole city. So, I mean, we're talking tacos and tamales and ice cream and gosh, street corn, everything that you can imagine, and of course, churros.
Yeah.
And they have like this amazing concentration of churros. There's like 7 churro places within, a block's radius. And and so I had my first fresh filled churros there. And I had never really lived before that moment. I mean, it was they were so incredible. I just thought, why do we have such lame churros back home? We have we always think, at least for me, I always like they always smell so good, and I think they're going to be delicious. I try them, and I'm almost always disappointed and I want them to be better. And then these were that way. And I thought, gosh, this would be, when you travel and you eat great food and you're like, why can't we have this back home? That was kind of the idea that I had back then. And that was quite a while ago. And after my time with, the nursing home business, airlines, and I was looking at starting something on my own and something that we could create a really extraordinary, memorable, standout experience around. And I thought, you know what? Let's revisit that churro idea. And no one's ever really created an elevated, awesome churro in the United States. And we need to bring that goodness here. And so I would kind of be irresponsible not to do that. And so I thought, let's make this happen. So about 9 years ago was when that idea resurfaced, and I decided to start this artisan churro business called San Diablo Churros. And it's a bit of a crazy beginning to it because we started at this harvest festival here in Utah. And so yeah, it's fun. So that's kind of the background. I mean, I can get into any of that you want to talk a little bit more about, but that was really the impetus, was a very clear focus and obsession and interest on my side to create a brand that is obsessed with experience, that loves to create interactions and not just transactions. That happens to be one of our company values, the I, interaction, not transaction. And that's really how we got going. And what it was just all of kind of this interesting Venn diagram overlap of obsession with brand and customer experience, with my obsession for food and Mexican food, and then desire to bring something this delicious to everyone. Everyone deserves great churros.
No
So,
doubt, no doubt. Yeah, and I can relate to that experience. I'm Colombian, Puerto Rican, and
oh,
Spanish.
awesome.
So, loving that Mexican food and the experience, I do agree. In the States, there's always been kind of that, ugh, like not, it didn't really hit the spot when you hit
Not
that churro.
quite, right?
No, no, I love it. And I'll add the I word, immersive, right? Because you
Yeah.
immersed yourself into that street corner desire, like, and you got into it and you really, and then many years later, it sounds like, you still had it in your heart, still had it in your mind, and then you really developed something out of being able to do that. So did you go back for a recipe? Did you immerse yourself again and interact with those people? Or how did you get to that understanding of where you were going to develop a product that was going to be meeting your expectations to hit the market?
Yeah. I mean, that's really a fun story. I mean, I go back to Mexico City. Actually, it's right here. This is Mexico City map right here. Like, I love that. I love that place so much. It feels like home. It really does feel like a second home to me. And I have taken hundreds and hundreds of people on taco tours to Mexico City, and love to showcase the amazing culture, amazing people, immersive, like you said, immersive experiences that really teach us and train us all as leaders how to create more humanized brand experiences. So I've been, ever since that time in my life, I've been going back to Mexico City countless times, and Mexico in general. But um, so it's always top of mind for me. It's just part of my DNA, who I am, and what I love. And so when this idea kind of resurfaced about starting the churros, I was like, well, that's a really great idea, but how am I going to do this? I went to I remembered that a friend of mine, I went to his restaurant, a small little amazing delicious restaurant here in Utah, actually, of all places. And he made these churros for me.
Hmm.
Um, and he hand pulled them. He pulled the dough, dipped it in, deep fried it, and I was like, dude, these are so good. And I said, you know what? It's crazy. And we had been talking, and he, had connections to Mexico City, and we were geeking out about that. And I said, you know what? I've always dreamt of starting a churro business. He's like, well, do you want the recipe? And I
Hmm.
said, sure. Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm in the middle of my airline business, but yeah, I'll take the recipe. Why not? So he gave me the recipe, and I didn't really. I mean, I think I maybe made it once, and I was like, oh wow, these are amazing. And yeah, he's like, this is my grandma's recipe from Oaxaca, right? In the southern part of Mexico. And 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 I said, okay, cool. So then when the time came that I was thinking about, I'm like, oh yeah, I have that recipe in my Evernote, right? So I pulled up my Evernote, dusted that off, and and we were off to the races. I called him and I said, "Hey, Sam, I think I'm going to be starting a churro business. Am I okay to use your recipe?" He said, "Sure, yeah." And I mean, we've since like that is what our pastry chefs use, like Mindy and Sheridan used at the beginning we've made it our own now, but that was like the foundation was this his grandma's recipe from Oaxaca. So it is fun, and I still see Sam regularly. Actually, I ate at his restaurant, Motel West in Orem, Utah, 3 days ago. So,
Nice.
yeah, it's fun to always have that connection. So
Well, it's
that's how we
interesting.
got the. And then since then, well, so we started the business at this, unexpectedly contacted this harvest festival in Utah and said, "Hey, I see that you're looking for food vendors. Um, uh, I do you have any openings?" She said, "Well, what do you sell?" I said, "Artisan filled churros," and we had nothing. This was just an idea in my head. And she said, "Oh my gosh, it's been our dream to have filled churros at Corn Bellies," was the name of this festival. And I said, "Oh, really? I mean, I'm about ready to help you make your dreams come true." And she said, "That's great. How long have you guys been in business?" And I said, well, we actually would be launching at Corn Bellies, and she was not having it. She's like, oh. I said, well, what about if we did this? I'll bring you and everyone that's involved in the decision samples you can try, and then you can decide whether or not you want us at the festival. She's like, that's great. There's 15 of us. We're meeting to make the final decision in 3 days. Uh, can you come and bring us samples? I said, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Hang up the phone. I'm like, what? What am I doing? Didn't have a brand name. Didn't have like had only made the recipe once or twice before. Instantly, within 3 days, we came up with a business, a brand, San Diablo, which means Saint Devil, Holy Devil. You're a Spanish speaker, so you know this. It's an oxymoron, obviously, but it came from this idea that our churros are heaven sent and wicked good, like kind of this angel and the devil on your shoulder, you know. And it was a nod to where the origins were for me, where the idea was in Mexico, and wanted to have something a little bit, not a little bit, but definitely to honor the origins of that for me. And so anyway, so we scrambled and put it all together. We did the tasting. They said, "Yes, this is great. We'd love you. Why don't you have two booths at Corn Bellies? You guys have two booths, right?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." We didn't even have one booth, but anyway, we made it all happen, launched, and then we were off to the races. So at that moment, I think why did I decide to I was telling you that backstory because there was somewhere where I was heading with
No, it's okay. I think, look, you're
Mexico City and like where how it all happened, and we just wanted to make sure to have something that was really a unique experience for people, and not just sling churros. Like anyone can make churros, but we wanted to create a whole experience around it. So that's why, we wear ties to make churros and these aprons, and we have the like a lot of different fun things on our secret menu. That's really not so secret, but yeah. Anyway, it's a we have a good time, and it's been interesting to see where it's gone since then. So
No, I love the story. I think, again, you're sharing how an entrepreneur should think, right? Immerse yourself into something, have a little bit of passion behind what you're about to do. And then, hey, throw yourself into the game, right? You threw yourself into this festival, had nothing to set up or, and had nothing set up yet. And they challenged you. They didn't really want you. And then you came and forced yourself in there, right? And shared, hey, here's the goodness of everything. But there's the experience, Go for CO community. You get a chance to really kind of showcase yourself in something that you've not done, but you have this dream. You had something kind of mixed up there, right, with the recipe, and you had done it a couple times. You fell in love with it, and you presented it, and guess what? It happened. So really neat stuff, So you get into the show itself. Yeah, it sounds like you had some success. People were starting to get a little bit of a buzz, even just from one show. How does that start to formulate into a business for you? Obviously, you have this experience of being a C-suite guy with other companies. This is a small business. You're just launching. What are some of the things that you did to prepare yourself to start to put that brand, the execution, the development, and those things together?
So we decided, it's a great question. We decided that, so this festival was 6 weeks long. And so for us, this was a 6 week marketing campaign.
Mm,
Yes, we were looking getting some revenue, obviously, and kicking things off with our business. But from our perspective, the question that we always got, we still get, I mean, it is the most popular question that we get is, where are you guys located? Right? And so we do not have a brick and mortar location where people can come and get churros, and that's a whole other story about the interesting nuances of churro consumption in America. But we don't have a brick and mortar location. So during that 6 week span at Corn Bellies, we decided that our answer, it was just what came very naturally, but our answer was, well, we go where the party is. Do you
mm,
have anything coming up that we can cater? And so we used it as a springboard to launch our catering and events business. And so we figured that this constant reminder for people over the 6 weeks of this festival, and then using it as a marketing tool to get the next event, whether it's a corporate party, a wedding, any sort of anniversary party, 15 or like 16-year-old birthday party, or quinceañera or whatever it is. Like we wanted to use that to springboard into growth and developing ourselves as a catering business in Utah. And so we did. And it's been super interesting to see how things have progressed and developed over the course of these last 9 years. How we added a food truck to the mix, and we were doing that for several years, and then March 2020 happened, and the pandemic, and all of our events business came, rug pulled out from under us, came crashing down for several months. What do we do? How do we reinvent ourselves? What's the next step? How do we survive? And not just survive, but thrive going forward. And so we decided to take the churro making power to the people. And so just the evolution of what we were doing, because we're all about delivering deep fried happiness, and like we just want to fill lives with happiness one churro at a time. And so we created the churro fiesta in a box, which is, the ultimate churro making kit. And so then that got us squarely in like e-commerce space. Now we're not just a local business here in Utah, but we're now, starting to create experiences in people's homes. How do we translate our in-person churro experience to an at-home churro making experience? How does it feel on brand for San Diablo? What are some unique personality and elements of what we're doing? How do we incorporate that into the kit itself? And so it was super fun to create that. It was a plan that I um, uh, did with my team as part of our Goldman Sachs 10,000 small business growth plan, because I was part of that cohort here locally. And so it was amazing. We still have that. Um, We still sell these kits. They're great corporate gifts and amazing gifts for the holidays and other times of year. And then that was kind of our big opened up our perspective of how we could continue to grow and expand. And so as you kind of asked, like, how did things continue to evolve, and where did you see this going? Well, it was much of that was put upon us, like the pandemic was upon all of us, and so we needed to do things differently, and so that really helped spur that sort of innovation for us. And then because of that, that opened up all sorts of opportunities for us to, how are there, ask the questions of, well, are there other ways that we can take people churros? This is an experience. This kit is an experience gift, but it's involved, right? I mean, we've tried to make it super easy. Just add water, you fry within less than 10 minutes, you can make fresh churros. However, some people don't want to do that, but they still want churros. And churros are becoming more and more popular. We started to see Cinnamon Toast Crunch churros version maybe 3, 4 years ago. And since then, there's churro flavored everything in almost every aisle in the grocery store. So we're seeing, there's protein powder and chips and popcorn and like cereal and ice cream and all sorts of things are churro flavored, which is basically like cinnamon sugar is now identifying as churro flavored because that's more desirable and attractive flavor profile. Because global flavor trends are, people are interested in globally inspired foods. And so we're seeing all of these trends. We're uniquely positioned and have the foundation set, made millions of churros over 9 years, and we're like, well, why don't we do like a take and bake churro kit? Our churros, they're already fried, filled, frozen, and people can just pop them in the air fryer. So that's when this is just a year old. We started to get directly into the consumer packaged goods space, the CPG space, in the freezer section. And we're in Target and Harmon's and Associated Foods, and we're just barely getting going. So much growth and opportunity there, so much interest. And then continuing that idea of like, well, are there other ways that we can get people churros and make it really easy and convenient and delicious for people to like, you know, get their churro fix and whenever they want. And so then just a couple months ago, we introduced the itty bitty churro. So these are micro little crunchy churro bits that are snackable. So imagine, for those of you that aren't watching the video but are just listening, these are the size of a corn pop cereal. But they're crunchy, they are actual churros, and they're covered in cinnamon sugar. So we have this, the itty bitty churros, and we have a spicy version of this because that's part of our brand, and it's that one's been the runaway hit. And we have like Tajin and Takis and Flaming Hot, everything to thank for the and also Spicy, sweet and spicy is a really popular flavor profile right now as well. So that's kind of how things have evolved for us over the years of going from, an events-based business where we're making churros out of our food truck or at a fair and festival catering, to then the churro making kits, and now other ways that people can eat churros in different levels of convenience and availability. So we're just, like I said, we're looking to fill lives with happiness one churro at a time, and really want to be the go-to for absolutely delicious churros when people need that.
Well, that core philosophy of making, filling people's life with happiness seems to be, the value of where you get strength from and growing this brand. So it's pretty awesome. What a great experience. The pandemic hit a lot of companies. I actually got inspired to do the Go for CEO channel because of the pandemic. I had a lot of friends in the
Cool.
restaurant business in Chicago, which we're known for restaurants, get shut down and stuff like that. But B2C, I've got a jerky company that's a client of mine. I do commercial banking, and my commercial bank hat says to me, "Hey, well, how did this guy like he goes from that 6 weeks, right, venture. Did he have also a team put together already? Where are some of the components that really started helping you? Because you're one man. It looks like obviously you're the brains, obviously, of being able to branding, the trust behind it, the quality control. Where did you start to build that team? Was it in that 6 weeks you started to get resourceful and found some teammates, or
Oh,
where did you
well,
go from
first
there?
of all, I mean, yes, I'm one person, but this has been an absolute we have had some mo of the most brilliant people and hardest workers help build San Diablo to where we are today and continue to grow and develop it. And like countless like dear friends and colleagues that have sacrificed and worked really hard to get us where we are. For example, I like the very first phone call. Remember, I was telling you, like, oh, yeah, we'll be there in 3 days with everything and pretend like we're a company.
Yeah.
um, I hung up that phone. I called my friend Mindy immediately because she had just left her VP role at Goldman Sachs to pursue her passion of baking. So she did the kind of the opposite that you did, but she wanted to, and I thought, gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. I called Mindy. I said, hey Mindy, I think I'm starting a churro business in 3 days. What are you doing all day tomorrow? I need to make churros and figure this out. And she's like, what? You're crazy. I said, I know. Let's meet up. Yeah, do you have time? Lunch and dinner are on me. Let's just make churros all day. And so we did, and then we were off to the races. I then called my dear friend Tracy, who was dating someone here in Utah, but finished her her doctorate degree in Pepperdine and still did not have a job, like just recently graduated, like maybe a week before. I called her and I said, hey Tracy, I know you just finished your doctorate degree, but I need someone that I can trust to help me launch this business. So just come help me for like 3 months. Like I need to, we're opening up in Corn Bellies in 3 weeks, so I need to hire like 30 people. We need to develop a training program, like processes, and she did training and development and what like was all part of her doctorate. And so she did. So she came on board. So Mindy and Tracy came and we like instantly within the 3 weeks we had a launch party. We gave away, free churros for life card at this launch party to convince people to go there. It was a fun time, a really great time. And we hired 30 people, we trained them, got uniforms, equipment, figured out how to do everything, and then we launched. And so I mean, there's been a lot of heavy lifting from a lot of people over the years as we've grown and pushed to do new and different things, like through the course of the time that we've been in existence. And so, yeah, definitely. I mean, incredible team that uh, have really have their fingerprints and their DNA all over the growth of San Diablo. I could go on and on about individuals over the years that have made a dramatic impact in what we're doing.
Well, and that's so true in every business, right? I always say Amazon wasn't built just by Jeff Bezos. He had a team around him, and maybe they don't get the notoriety, right? Obviously, you're the face of San Diablo right now. We're doing this podcast. You're sharing the journey of San Diablo Churros and all the things that you did before. But all that connection, Go for CEO community, is in my chapter number 2. So I'll do a shameless plug. I talk about
Yeah.
aligning yourself, right? Align yourself with the right people, and gosh, it seems like business just becomes a little bit simpler, right? You get the right talent, the right people around you, the right resources to come around you because you've aligned yourself and you create those relationships. Now you knew that Tracy was doing X, right, and leaving Goldman, and you knew that Mindy had just done this part of her doctorate that would help you in the development of employing people rapidly and putting them into a system, into a process of everything. So really, really cool stuff. So I guess from a funding perspective, I'm very curious. A lot of our viewers, talk about, hey, well, I don't know where to start. I'll start my LLC, but then how do I get funding? Or maybe I just bootstrap the thing and, get going. Sounds like initially you might have bootstrapped it, but I don't want to talk for you on that side. What was that first 6 weeks? Where'd you get the materials? How'd you source those things? And then, that team came together. Was that then after those 6 weeks something that you pursued as far as funding and being able to do something like that, or did you bootstrap most of the beginning parts of this?
Yeah, really great question. And the yes, I mean the short answer is it was bootstrapped from the very beginning, and has been bootstrapped for about 7 or so years. And then and during that time, I had gotten an SBA loan from one of our local banks here. We also got there was an SBA COVID EIDL loan,
Yep.
EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan, that we also benefited from during uh, the the
Pandemic.
impulse that the government was trying to do to help all of these businesses stay afloat and to be able to thrive. And so we're beneficiary of that as well, and so grateful. We have a line of credit also with the SBA. And then I did some debt financing from friends and family. And then just recently, this past couple of months, closed a first round of angel investments, with which angel's so appropriate for our business. But yeah, angel. I mean, I have a halo right here. Where's my halo? We have horns and halos. These are part of our kits. So yeah, our angel
Nice.
investors. And so they and that's on a convertible note. There's San Diablo has some pretty incredible growth projections and opportunities, especially now that we're in the consumer packaged goods space. With our take and bake churros and the itty bitty churros, it allows us to scale in dramatic ways that would have taken a long time and a large capital investment, otherwise with an events based business. And so
Mhm.
so that's kind of our new and I fundraising, as the head of the business, is my least favorite thing to do. I mean, I obviously love talking about what we've built and where we're going and the vision and everything like that. That part is really fun. What is not fun is the grueling nature of getting funding from either traditional sources, whether that's banks or VCs, angels, you know, private equity, whatever it is. That is a grueling process. And uh, yeah, I'm I don't even know. I mean, I could go on and on about that, but it
No,
is no fun. I because I'm going through it really becomes a full-time job in so many ways because
yeah,
if you and the thing that I wish were different is that I don't want to worry about that. I just want to get the money so that I can run my business and deploy those funds in the ways that I know will give us a really amazing return on investment. And so it feels it's like an at least for us in our situation it felt like a um or it sometimes feels like a essential distraction. I don't know how else to describe it because if you don't do it, you don't get money to do what you're going to do. And what are you going to do without money to grow? And so you have to dedicate time to um, getting that funding. And every business has a different story about how that happened. There's just countless resources to be able to do that. Everything from hard money loans to to SBA, to traditional loans, to friends and family, to a rich uncle, to angels, private equity, VCs. They all have their very interesting and distinct ways of making their decisions. And so yeah, I mean, there's like PO financing, like purchase order financing. There's like obviously lots of different
Yeah.
ways that you can be creative about it, but it's so it's a that is my one of my least favorite parts about the business is like spending time raising funds to be able to do what you need to do. And you can't do without the funds. So you have to spend the time. Um, yeah.
And this is a big part of it, right? So on the Go for CO community, we talk a lot about cash flow management. When you do bootstrapping, you've got to understand what part of your capital that's coming in, right, as a sale that you do deploy into savings, do you deploy into re R&D, do you deploy into, employees, right? Where are you growing? What's that cash flow management like? And a lot of small businesses can't afford a CFO, right? As an example, CFOs have kind of wear that hat of, all right, hey, here's a 13-week forecast. Here's a 26-week forecast. And, for better or for worse, as a CEO of a company, you wear all those hats until you can start to bring talent in, and it sounds like you brought the right talent for the production side, but it's been a little bit stressful. And we thank you for sharing that because it's not an easy task. I always say on my LinkedIn, I say, like, hey, if you have a CPA, good attorney, and a good banker, I think your life gets a lot easier. And you got to put the right people at the table so that they can ensure, hey, here's the direction you want to go, Mr. Entrepreneur, Miss CEO, vision person. And then you put the right people around you for the funding because they'll have the context, right? And they'll have the understanding like, hey, here's how to put it together so that you can go to the next step. So we really thank you for sharing that candidness and authentic side of the struggle of being a small business owner and growing it over the last 5, 7, 8 years. So let's do something fun. What are some things that you're doing on the marketing side? Obviously, you have this brand awareness competency that you've built through C-suite experiences, through the companies that you've built. What are the ways that you've now taken San Diablo Artisan churros and marketed them so that you've got this awareness, you got this new CPG product, you got all this thing. There's a lot of things that marketing and sales deploy into getting capital, right? So tell us a little bit about that background, and we'll go into the final version of the CEO podcast here.
Oh man, there's been so many things, there have been so many things that we've tried over the years, and that some of them have given us some really great results. Some of them and you're asking this question at a really important time for us because we are essentially making a dramatic transition from a locally based business, primarily locally. I mean, yes, we've done the kits for several years, and that's, email campaigns, text campaigns. Influencers have been wildly important for us because they'll make these kits at home and then they make the churros at home with the kits. They post all of that content on their feeds, and then people get interested. They're like, oh my gosh, yeah, does look totally fun. So influencers have been and will continue to be a very important key marketing strategy for us, especially as we get into new things that, now we're going to go back to these influencers and say, hey, we even have an easier way for you to have churros. So you're asking this question at a really important time when we are making a dramatic transition from a primarily locally based business to now a national brand, because our churros are going to be in stores all over America. We're in 7 states currently, and that is growing every single day when we get new clients coming on board, new customers coming on board, and new stores. Um, so there's a lot of noise out there. So we need to be really creative to get people's attention. And content is a big part of the strategy that we're thinking about right now. Everything from like and some of the things that we're considering are like a mascot, a life-size churro mascot walking through the streets of Manhattan for a month. You know, we're considering massive contests where people can, you know, and win free churros for a year. Like, what does that look like? We are we do a lot of in-person events, just actually sampling is another big part of our strategy. Um, and man on the street sort of like, hey, try this out. What do you think? Give me your honest opinion. And people, and that, so that kind of covers two two areas of both content creation plus getting more people all over to try the churros and give us their opinion. But the IRL or the in real life events and are something that is really key to us, especially because zero people ever have thought about eating an itty bitty churro. So we've got to give that. So one of the things, for example, like these make an amazing airline snack. So we've contacted and we're going to be on Breeze Airways. They had 4 million passengers last year. And we're going to be on Breeze Airways in the fall. That will be a tremendous opportunity for us to get our churros in the more mouths of people and build that awareness. So collaborations have been key to that for us. Key to those ideas of continuing to, you know, broaden our exposure. Um, uh, some interesting things that we're doing. Well, there's kind of like some B2B interesting things. For example, we just went to several trade shows have been very important for us to get in front of decision makers that are wanting to buy our churros to put in their stores. And we, you know, scrappy. We're like 100% scrappy. And we had a 10 by 10 booth at this snack sweets and snack show, and we're introducing the itty bitty churros, and so we created a little itty bitty booth within our booth, and it's an itty bitty me. So there was this little doll that I shaved its head. It took me an hour to shave its head, and we put a bow tie on him and an apron, and he looked literally like me. And half of the people were like, "Oh my gosh, that scared me. That's so creepy." Half of the people were like, "That's adorable," and most of the people were like, "That's kind of creepy and adorable at the same time." And but everyone stopped, and it like grabbed people's attention and was and we didn't spend $250,000 to create this amazing booth build out. And so that spurred a lot of conversation. And so we're doing a lot of like that's on the B2B side. How do you stand out and get in front of people in different ways? And then on the consumer side, we're doing like June 6th is National Churro Day. We're calling it Dia de los Churros. And so we're having a huge party here in Utah. We've done that for years. Like 1,000 people come. We give free churros. It's all these immersive brand experiences that like we're probably gonna have an itty bitty petting zoo there with like little baby animals, like lots of itty bitty things, and then we're gonna have frozen things as well. But we just have a great time. You know, we want people to understand the personality of our brand, which is fun and family and memories. And obviously, delicious churros are there to kind of put the tie the beautiful bow on all of those experiences. And so, um, but you know we're doing that for a party here in Utah, but we're giving 50% off. It's our best sale of the year on our online sales, so we don't want anyone that's not able to come to the party to be left out of the fun as well. And so that those are just some ways through email and social media that we're getting that word out. We also have an annual charity event called Churros for Change, and we raise money for local nonprofits. We over the years we've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for local nonprofits, and we host that on the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, Giving Tuesday, and so that this year will be our 10th Churros for Change event, and we're really excited about it. But that's an important part of us being able to give back and be a part, if like fully integrated in the community and um, a part of making a difference and doing good in the world and filling lives with happiness, like I said. So those are just kind of a handful of things that have been successful for us over the years to to get the word out in meaningful and memorable ways for people.
I love it. I think there's truly something over the last probably 10, 15 years that entrepreneurs have really kind of focused in the social impact side, right? And what you could do within your business. I think people gravitate to that because there's something within that that they're saying, oh, okay, this company we could support not only by enjoying their product or service, but they're also giving back a portion of it, which motivates you as a consumer, right? To be
Yeah.
able to do that. But then you've also had this story of, growing from bootstrapping to friends and family to now angel investors and engaging those people into this story into what you've been able to build, and then you have a transition within a period of time, right, with the pandemic changing it from, let's say, festivals and parties and all that engagement to now with packaging and experiences at the home, and now doing these little mini churros. So what a great journey you've had here, and it's really neat to see. And we'd love to have you back in the next 6 to 12 months and kind of share, hopefully, what's new, what's exciting, and what's growing. So, the way we end our interviews is CEO. Part of Go for CEO is C for client experience, and you have different types of clients. You're from corporate clients to end consumers online. It seems like they're going through that journey. E is for engagement, which is obviously something that you've had to do very well because you've had a team to grow and you've had vendors to be able to work with and end user clients, business or personal. And then last one is operational excellence. So let's start with C. C is client experience. So you've talked about that happiness. So what's a 60-second, kind of value proposition from San Diablo Artisan Churros and what you're doing to give that client experience high level?
So when people come by it, I think it goes with everything. I like to think about it in the with the five senses, right? Like how can you, the more that you engage all of the five senses, the more memorable you'll be and the better type of experience that you're going to create. So even like what we wear, like I'll joke, like we take churro making very seriously and we wear ties to make churros. And trust me, like I remember one time it was blazing hot outside. I was there doing an event and they're like, I can't believe your boss makes you guys wear ties when it's like 120. I'm like, I know, I can't even believe it either. And we say we jokingly take churro making very seriously, but this stands out. I mean, everywhere we go, this visual of the tie and the apron is very noticeable. The other thing I want to say is I remember when I was in Tijuana, like sourcing some things, and I was there in this store and I saw these cowbells, and I thought, what would we need a cowbell for? And then I thought, well, we always need more cowbell. So I grabbed three of them and I just on a whim, and I decided to, and we literally take these to all of the events that we do. Inside this kit is a little mini cowbell because that's part, like when you talk about creating happiness, like you would be so surprised. We're at an event and we ring the cowbell because like cool glasses, you got an A on your test, you won your soccer game, your baby's so cute, we ring the cowbell. Um, there's something about that sensory experience that people are like, ooh, wait. And then the other person behind them are like, wait, I want a cowbell. Why did they get a cowbell? So there's
Yeah.
this just inherent, like it helps remind all of us as well internally. You talk about engagement, like that all of those things help us live our values of interaction, not transaction. We don't just want to do an exchange of money for churros. Like we want to be, we're engaged in a relationship with you, and we want you to be part of our churro family. And we talk about we talk about our customers as members. We don't call them customers because they're members of our family. They're members of this growing churro club We just want to think of people like family members, and how would you treat your family? And then how do we celebrate like the little things? And so all of these elements are touch points that help us create these extraordinary humanized experiences.
Well, you went deep, right? I mean, client experience and engagement, fully immersed in the San Diablo experience. Last one is operational excellence, right? Obviously, you mentioned, raising capital and those things can kind of be tedious, not the funnest part of it, right? And but you need that necessary evil. We also
Some
need
people may like it. It is not my favorite part, but if you like it, wonderful. Like, that's great. I'm happy for you.
well, and you need operations, right? So
Totally.
operations can kill your business. As joyful and as excited you are to share your product, if you don't have that mainframe kind of laid out, or systems that help you with SOPs. Talking about SOPs, the SBA just transformed all their SOPs recently. But mainframe ways of doing business. Can you share with us from your perspective, what you're using in operational excellence? Are there, any softwares that you really enjoy using? Are there things that you've been able to do to really operate your business efficiently?
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, yes, there are so many things that we're like constantly looking at improving what we're doing operationally. And because we're doing something that we've never done before, we're leaning on expertise of others to help us know. Like, there's all sorts of, for example, here in Utah, there's like some organizations that provide some training or connect you to people that have the operational expertise. I mean, we've been an events-based business for 9 years. Now we're adding food manufacturing to our quiver of of tricks. Like, how do we? What are the best things to do? Like, I went to trade. I think education for me has been the biggest thing, and tapping into the experience and advice from others. I mean, yes, we're using some elements of technology and software, but we're at a very early stage of food manufacturing. And I know that we will get to using some of those, but we're like, is this the machine that we're going to be buying, or is it this machine? And at what point in 6 months for it, is it 3 months from now? Is it 6 months from now that we need to get a bigger space because of the capacity that we're planning on the orders coming in? And so it's just kind of leaning on the experience of other people that have done this before has really been core to our operational experience so far. But we're in the thick of that. So yeah, like you said, maybe 6 months down the road, let's talk again, because I know that there's a lot of efficiencies that we need to hit, and there's a lot of different software applications that can help us, eliminate waste and improve efficiencies and grow margins. And so um, yeah, we're pretty early on in figuring all of that out on the CPG side. But we do. I mean, we use for example, let me just say, I guess from the event side, we use a messaging, like a internal team messaging application called Pronto, a business based here in Utah. I just talked with Jolt. They do, and we're considering using them on the event side for checklists and follow up, and us like being able to make sure that every event is flawless, is of the highest standards, which is something that's very important to us. So there are a lot of really great tools for us to tap into, and we're learning what those are as we get deeper and deeper into this new industry for us.
Well, I'm excited for you. I think there's a lot of evolution there, right? Over the
Yeah.
years, you've gone from a business model to transitioning into another one to being faced with some, headwinds that really hurt the whole world. in that time space. But then you transition into an experience, and now you're going into CPG. So kudos to you for keeping nimbleness part of SMB, right? Small business, and understanding kind of where to go to resources, and then creating that marketing effort with some of these cool things and names and ways that you're attracting people to the brand. So, Scott, we really appreciate you coming on the Go for CEO channel. Is there anything that you want to share as far as just last words? And then also how to get a hold of you? Where do they order the product? How do they engage with you and
Yeah,
go from
thank
there?
thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome. I appreciate your interest in what we're building. It's been a wild and fun and exhilarating ride. And it's just, we're just getting started in a lot of ways. So yeah, definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Scott Craig Porter. I have a taco in my name there, so you emoji there you'll see. And also obviously with San Diablo, we are everywhere as San Diablo Churros on social media. So San Diablo Churros, and then sandiablochurros.com is our website where you can get all sorts of information, place orders, yeah, we'd love to connect with you and have you be a part of our story.
I love it. I love it. Well, hey, Go for CEO community, again, subscribe to the channel. What a great story Scott just shared, right? With his C-suite background to an idea that he had, calls someone out of the blue in a festival. They don't want him, but he puts himself in front of them, still makes the effort, aligns himself with two or three different people, with Tracy and Mindy and these people that help him start this great voyage. And then all of a sudden now he's transitioned into different areas of the business from CPG to experiences in your home and all that stuff. So kudos again. Go for CEO community. Thank you so much, Scott, for being on, and we will
Thank you so
talk to you
much.
soon.
Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.